Hi guys, I just have some information for you, and this is for all my brothers and sisters who are in America, and also for everyone around the world, as it does actually affect everybody, this information. Just a brief history on it. In 1948, a law was passed in America which said that the American governments couldn't use propaganda against their own people. And that was an act that was made, and it was very specific, and it said the government cannot use propaganda against its own people to, go with their own, to change their laws and to do specific things. This was an actual law that was passed. Okay, just some information that I've got, and I don't know how many people know about this or know that it's been passed, but in May of 2012, last year, a Texan Republican called Thornberry introduced the HR 5736, the Smith-Mundt Modernisation Act of 2012. I'm just going to explain to you what the act is, and then I'm going to read briefly a piece that I've found which explains rather well about it. Now basically what this act is back in 1948, after the wars, the American people started to wake up, just like they are today. And they started to realise that the governments are actually using propaganda against them to get what they wanted. So they were putting out false stuff, and just, the people at that time were actually sick and tired of it. So this bill was introduced so that it couldn't be done anymore against the people and against the world as well. But in May of 2012, that law was actually amended. I don't know how many people know about this. Now, it was amended in such a way that I find it really shocking, especially in light of what's happening at the moment with the Sandy Hook and all those things there. So basically, I'm going to give you a brief rundown of what the new law now has added to, what has been added to it. So what they've added to it is that the government in America has power over the broadcasting in America. They are allowed to put their own information, to disseminate information. They're allowed to use the press. They're allowed to use publications. They're allowed to use the radio. They're allowed to use motion pictures. They can put their propaganda over the internet. They're allowed to use other information media, including social media, and through information centres, instructors, and other direct or indirect means of communication. And also what they're going to be doing, they've also changed the act to say that the people who put all this stuff into the archives are just putting it straight into the archives, which means that propaganda and lies that the government is telling is then being put into the archives. Basically what this means, people, is for anything that the government want to do and they want to change, they're going to be using every format available to them to change your mind about an issue. For instance, what's going on today with the Sandy Hook? Now, reading this and knowing that they've got full power over all broadcasting, filming, okay, they can make films if they want to, right? They can go onto social media sites if they want to. So for those of you that know about the video that I've put up about the YouTube videos that are on a hit list that are talking about Sandy Hook and the cracks in the official narrative, it's the government that wants them off YouTube, because we are actually messing up their propaganda. So there's a hit list at the moment for videos that are on YouTube, and they want them off because it's messing up all this stuff that they're trying to do. Obviously they're trying to take the guns off you guys in the USA, and they're using any means and forms that they need and they deem necessary, and that's what they're doing. And also it's changing history, because if you're putting false stuff into the archives, in 100 years' time, people are going to be reading that stuff. It's going to be available. And who in 100 years' time is going to know the truth about what was really going on in the world, and the fact that governments had to make films to try and change our minds? They made movies, and they were on the radio, and they were infiltrating our social media. So for people that say that there aren't government trolls online, and they say they're not, there aren't people that are doing that. And when we are calling them government shills and everything, look, the internet, they've infiltrated it. Social media sites, they have full power. So this was brought in May 2012. So you've got June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So we had 7 months after, you got the Sandy Hook happening. So this was rather, I think this was changed rather deliberately, because they knew what was coming up in 2012 and they knew what was going on. So I'm going to say that people who are questioning the official narrative for Sandy Hook have every right to do so. And if you're not questioning certain things at this time, then, you know,